Yo, what's up? Welcome to Sensify. Thrilled to have you here, and I'm excited about today's blog post. So we're gonna jump right in. Today, featured. Should I just keep going? What do you think? I'm gonna just keep going. Let's keep going. All right. Today, I'm talking with a buddy, Andy Drish. Andy is a friend of mine who I've made probably in the last year, and the dude has rocked my world from a couple different perspectives. One is he's one of the most generous people that I know. He exemplifies so many of the virtues that I strive to embody. And what's strange is that I usually have an allergy to traditional internet marketing people. And Andy, I wouldn't say is traditional, but he is an internet marketer and incredibly intelligent business person. So I made some notes over here for what I actually wanted to say in this video. What did I want to say? I wanted to say Andy is a successful entrepreneur and a copywriter who still remembers what it's like to be stuck in a cubicle. In this video, he shares some of his best wisdom on taking the leap and making money as an entrepreneur. We're also going to talk about how to stop waiting for your passion to hit you over the head and go out and find it anyway. And he talks about another bullet item, why having a strong why is more effective than some of the best how-tos that you'll find out there. One last thing we talk about is what you can do to make sure that your biz is making money when you quit your job. Hope you guys didn't mind the whole eyes looking down thing right there. I know I'm kind of winging it here, but I appreciate you guys staying with me. I'm also going to tell you a little bit about Andy's professional bio, since the man is such a professional who drags people such as myself, to Burning Man and spends 2 weeks with them in an RV. And so here's time for the professional bio, if you guys don't mind. Andy Drish believes entrepreneurship is the ultimate path for personal growth, self-discovery, and impact on the world. He's on a mission to help entrepreneurs and influencers unleash the genius already inside of them. He's done some of that with me. Andy sold his first business at the age of 26, very relatable, and then co-founded The Foundation, the world's first online accelerator for software businesses where they are reinventing the education of entrepreneurship. When he's not playing at work, you can find him traveling the world, drinking cheap wine with his close friends, or living in Colorado where he's trying to suck less at snowboarding. Guys, I hope you enjoy this chat with Andy. Feel free to drop a comment below when it's over. Love to hear what you think, and we'll talk soon. Peace. Andy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, so for all of us who are watching right now, this dude, Andy Drish, is the reason why I was missing in action from Sensify for 2 weeks. He dragged my ass out to Burning Man and totally got me out of my comfort zone.
Oh, yeah.
An incredible trip. Thank you so much for getting my ass out there, dude.
Dude, you're welcome, man. Jacob had to pretty much rearrange his entire life to make it happen, so
yeah,
I'm glad that you did.
And Andy is probably one of those people who are smart enough to somehow figure out how to get me to do that. Because I was like, I am not doing this, dude. And he's like, no, you don't need to do it. You don't need to do it. But have you thought about this?
Yeah, just put off the trip to Europe and change your launch schedule and everything.
Yeah. Well, glad I took the trip, dude. And glad that we've developed a brothership since that. And yeah, and I've learned so much from you even before the trip, and it was one of the reasons I was inspired to connect with you more, what you're doing in the world, who you are, what you've learned, what you've taught me. And so with this conversation, I'm excited for everyone watching to kind of have an inside view into where I get some mentorship from and what I've learned from Andy, and then how that also applies to being in a maybe a corporate job that you don't like, or having left that job and not exactly sure how to create a business, getting paid to do what you love to do. So I'm excited to jump into that with you today, Andy.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful.
Right on. So let's talk to that person right now who is who's in that job, who's working their ass off, went to college, starting a career that they don't particularly love, and maybe they thought it was a good idea, but they're starting to question it. Isn't excited waking up in the morning, thinks that this is success, not intrinsically, but because this is what's been defined by society as success. But inside is questioning, like, I know there's got to be more. There's blogs like this, there's books, I see other people doing it, but I don't know what that next step is. What advice can we start to give to them to help navigate through that position of knowing that there's something more, but not exactly sure what it is?
Beautiful. There's a scene in The Matrix where Neo first meets Morpheus, And Morpheus has a scene where he's like, let me tell you why you're here. It's like, you're here because you have a knowing. You can't really describe it, but it's a feeling deep inside you, a feeling that there's something else, there's something that you're missing. And he kind of goes off on it's an incredible scene. And
does he break into the song "I Got a Feeling"? It's the Burning Man coming out of me right now. Go ahead.
Not in this clip that I've seen, but so he goes off, and it really hit me when he did that, because I remember when I was in corporate America, and I remember feeling the exact same way of it's just a knowing, where you just know there's something else out there for you, but you don't know really what it is, but you know that there's more to life than going to can we swear on this?
Dude, did we not fucking swear yet?
Cubicle, right? Like, and sitting with gray walls, and you're surrounded by people who have lost like all passion in their life. And I just remember being there thinking, like, really, is this it? Like, I went through all of college and like worked my ass off to get this job, and I have this job, and like, am I going to spend the next 40 years of my life like doing this? And so I think the first thing to establish is, if you have that knowing, and if you're starting to like question things of like, what's, where is my life headed and stuff, trust that feeling and don't trust anyone else, because no one else is going to steer you in the direction that you want to go. So baseline, number one.
Love it.
Yeah.
I could riff more on that. Well, I'm curious.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm curious. You've been through this situation. I've been through this situation. For the people watching who are like, I've got this feeling inside that I'm not exactly sure what it is. And what it is actually is the beginning of a hero's journey. It's the beginning of starting this quest into the unknown, where we have to leave behind our friends, our family, our current reality of life, and go into that forest. When I was staying at your place, I picked up that Joseph Campbell book off your bookshelf, so I know you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
And go into that forest of the unknown, where we face our fears, we work through them, and we come out this more integrated version of ourselves, where we can then serve in a deeper capacity. But going back to where people who are watching this are right now, how do we deal with starting to immerse ourselves in community of people who can support us through this process of stepping into our next version of ourselves?
Yeah. I think before we talk about how to get into a community, I think we need to establish why community in the first place. Because so I grew up in a town of 600 people in the middle of nowhere in Iowa, and community was never something that was that important to me. I always felt like kind of like this lone wolf kind of doing my own thing. And so I never really understood the power of community until, I got to that point where I was ready to dive into, do my entrepreneur thing, start my business, and finding other people who had the exact same mindset. We're writing copy for our foundation launch right now, and we're talking about, one of the things we're talking about is, the average of the five. Your five closest friends, how much income do they have? If you average them all out, that's the amount of money you make. If you take your five closest friends, and maybe not your closest friends, but the people you spend the most time with, how happy are they on average? That's how happy you are. Your five closest friends, like, what kind of shape are they in? That's the kind of shape that you're in. And it was through this process that I realized like how important having those close relationships are around you, especially if you want to start a business. Or most of the people here want to start a business and get out. Is that?
I think we're still trying to figure it out. We see that we want to make a living while making a difference, combining income with impact, passion with profit, but we're not exactly sure if we're good enough to do that, if we know how to do that, if that's even a realistic option. So we're still, and some of us are like, I definitely want to be a coach, but for the most part, we're still working with that.
Perfect. So here's what you need. You need, one, somebody who's like a few steps ahead of you. So you don't necessarily want to be, if you want to become a coach, you don't want, it would be great to have like Tony Robbins as a mentor, right? And that'd be phenomenal. But really the highest leverage person you can have is somebody who's just those 3 steps ahead of you, who maybe if you're working in corporate America, they're the person who just quit their job and they're doing their own thing now and they're making their living from coaching. They're going to be the person who can help you the most, because they know exactly where you're at and where you want to go and the obstacles that are going to be in your way to get there. So that's like the first thing. And then the second thing I think is, if you're starting to question things, find other people who are questioning them too. Because, like I said, I just remember being in corporate America and I was in this leadership rotation program where they took four of us and we got mentored by like the senior executives at a Fortune 500 company, and we did 4 jobs over 3 years, and it was a really like cool thing to get into. And at the same time, even with my peers, I was just like, what the fuck? Like, people want to go do this for the rest of their lives, and this is insane to me. Like, I want to go have fun and go to Burning Man and dance my face off, like, and do stuff like that. And so if you're questioning things, I think it's important to have the people around you who are like your peers, who are going through the same journey that you are, and then also having those mentors and those like guides along the way to help you go through the process faster.
And I think one of the things that can be most debilitating and that keeps us trapped in place is that oftentimes we're afraid to take action if we don't know exactly how it's going to work out. So we want to know the step-by-step plan in order to leave the job or to start the business or to find that community. And I know I'm going off a little bit on a tangent here, but what's your experience with coaching people or mentoring people, or just your own process in not knowing how to do something but knowing why you want to do it and then figuring out the approach from that standpoint?
Oh yeah, definitely. The focus is always on the how, or always on the why. Like, why do you want it? Is most important. I think a lot of people, we want this step-by-step thing. We want like the action guide, or like, what are the 7 things that I have to do to start my coaching business? But I can tell you from experience that is a short-term game, and it will actually, it helps in the short term, but in the long term, that's not what matters most. When I was a year into my corporate job, I was trying all these things like affiliate marketing and AdSense and blogging and doing everything that I could to try and build a business. Eventually, I came across this website called Etsy, where people buy and sell handmade goods, and I thought, there's all these products of like how to make money on eBay and stuff. Like, we could do one on Etsy because nobody's really done that. Long story short, I found a guy on the site who was one of the top sellers and most influential people. We partnered together. In 6 weeks. We went from having no idea to launching a membership website. And the membership website generated like $7,000 or something in the first month that it was live. So that was like pretty much what I was making at my corporate job, even more. And so 6 weeks we go from having no business to a business doing like $6,000 or $7,000 a month. And the reason I was able to do that is because I bought this info product called Product Launch Formula and Mass Control by Jeff Walker and Frank Kern. And I just followed like their step-by-step guide. It actually worked. It was a good product. And I followed it to a T. And then when we launched the product, I was like, shit, what do I do now? We've got this community and we've got this product that's launched. And then, we went from having a website doing $6,000 a month to 9 months later shutting it down completely. And I had to start back over completely from scratch. And so I found myself a year later in my career being at a point where I was like, now I'm 2 years in and I have no business, and I feel not closer at all to leaving my job. So focusing on the strategies and tactics are good and they're helpful, but I think really what you want to focus on is the mindset. That's the most important piece.
That's dope, dude. So let's talk about the mindset for people who are watching right now, who are just starting out. What do you think is the mindset that you've seen most serve people, yourself, and for the people who are watching right now who are like, yeah, all that shit is awesome, dude, but at the end of the day, you're making enough money to do what you love, but I'm not there yet, so I want the how-to shit, and you're telling me the mindset stuff. What do I do?
Beautiful. So I think what happens is for most people is they, and this really stuck with me, they selfishly want to build businesses based off of like what's exciting and what they're passionate about. But people get so stuck because they never know what they're passionate about. And the truth is, your passion never wakes up and hits you. I don't know anyone that's just like, yeah, I just woke up this day and I became passionate about the guitar. Most of the time with passion, it starts off as something that you don't actually like to do. So for me, Tony Robbins has this thing where there's like 4 levels of activity: the stuff that's bad for you and that you don't enjoy doing, the stuff that is bad for you but you do enjoy doing, like drinking or smoking, bad for you but you probably enjoy it at some level. Level 2 are the types of activities that are good for you but you don't enjoy doing them. So the first time you start working out, it's good for you, but you might not enjoy going to the gym because it's kind of a pain in the ass. But eventually they will become level 1 activities, which are they're good for you and you enjoy doing them. So I think with a lot of passions that people have, they start as a level 2 activity where it's good for them, but they don't necessarily enjoy doing it, but they do it over and over and over. And then it gets to a point where they enjoy it. So copywriting for me, when I first started copywriting, I hated it. And I just stuck with it and kept doing it and kept doing it and kept doing it. And then after a period of time, then it became exciting. Then it became passionate for me. So I think people are trying to build businesses based off of their passions, as opposed to solving problems for customers and being passionate about the people that they're serving. So in the foundation, we teach this process. Like if you want to start a business and you don't have an idea, which is what I think holds the majority of people back from starting a business, is they don't have that, that $1 million idea yet. We teach a process called idea extraction, where we teach people how to go into markets and find ideas that people would be willing to pay for. And it's all focused on figuring out where do people have pain in their life and helping them with that. Does that make sense?
Dude, what the hell are you talking about right now?
Doesn't make sense at all. Great.
Yeah, can we start this over, actually? Can we just hit... I'm kidding. It all makes sense, dude. I talk about this shit all the time on Sensify, that wealth generation as a means of profound service, right? So, like, most of the time it's about me. What can I get? How much are they going to pay me to do that job? What kind of benefits? How many days off do I get? And then reshifting from that approach to, oh, you want to do your own thing on your own terms. Cool. Well, how much service can you provide? And it's just like, for me, someone asked me the other day, like, when did I become a giving person? And I'm like, when I realized that, like, I used to get into a lot of fights as a kid. Like, when I was really young, I used to get into a lot of fist fights.
To me.
Yeah. Fuck you, man, all right? Don't start with me. But I used to get into a lot of fights, and at some point I just realized the more pain I cause in other people's lives, the more painful my life becomes. So it wasn't like I was born Gandhi or Mother Teresa. It was just realized by me experiencing enough pain that what did I need to do to stop that? And so in business, I found it's the same thing. It's when I can just provide a better life for people, that's just reciprocated. It's not like I'm doing this so that then my life, it's just like the natural order of help people and you're helped. And I like to lay that on the foundation of, in order to help people, we need to show up at our best, take care of ourselves, nutrition, exercise, good connections, et cetera, et cetera. So serving people's pain, finding it, paying attention to that totally makes sense.
Yeah. Great. Good.
Cool, dude. Well, so let's talk about the next step, right? So, and this is what you guys do with the foundation, but once you start to identify what people's pain is, then how would you go about actually providing some service or value to them?
Yeah, so it depends on, are you doing a service-based business or a product-based business is a number one question. I think the transition a lot of people make going straight, like if you're transitioning out of a corporate job, I think often a lot of people go into the service-based businesses and for a period of time, because it gives you the freedom. If you're running a coaching business or if you're running a freelancing business, you can do it from anywhere. You can do it on your time, but you still end up being kind of stuck in this cycle of exchanging time for money. And I think it's just a natural evolution of the entrepreneur. It's like you work for somebody and then you do your service thing and then you want something that gives you a little more freedom and to build a business around. After that, the membership site I had crashed, I focused on this and I went part-time in my corporate job and I started cold calling real estate agents. And I cold called them long enough until I tried selling newsletters, because my idea was there was this company that was selling newsletters and they would charge $50 a month and they would write one newsletter, and then they had, 20,000 real estate agents or something, and it was like $1 million business, or is that right? $1 million business? I don't know. It was basically a really big number at the time. And I was like, wow, I can write a newsletter a month. That was my mentality. And after 6 weeks of cold calling, I sold one newsletter for $50. And it just like sucked. And so I started asking people like where their frustrations are, where their pains are. This is really my business partner now. Dane taught me this process. And what I found out is like one real estate agent in Denver, she was doing this thing. This is 2009 when the Daily Deal stuff was going really well. And she was doing this thing where a company was organizing deals, like a daily deal once a month instead of daily, and then she could send it out to all of her friends and family. So if you're a real estate agent, almost all of your business comes from past clients and referrals. and you need something to stay in front of them every single month. So she would send a postcard every month saying, hey, this is your friend Connie, the real estate agent. The next time you go to this restaurant, Johnny's Steakhouse, and get a meal, you'll get a free dessert courtesy of me. It's just something to say thank you for being one of my clients. So eventually I just like took this model and applied it to the local market that we were in, Des Moines and Omaha, and started, realtors would pay me $67 a month, and then I would organize one deal a month, design these little cards, and send them all out. And within a year or so, I have had about 100 people on that. And it was a business that was generating, we had $67 a month, and there were like a couple different upsells. So it was generating, I don't know, 8 to 10 grand a month, and it was pretty much automated. So that's like the product-based side, right? I'm getting kind of off topic on this, I think, because we're going to talk about how to actually deliver on it. The biggest thing we teach in the foundation is like pre-selling. So figuring out whatever the pain that the customer has and then selling it in advance. This is especially with product-based businesses, so you don't risk any time or money, wasting it building something that nobody wants. Because I think that's where a lot of people are scared of starting a business. Is they're scared of going down a path of putting all their time and money into something and then it failing.
Yeah, I love how you course corrected the interview yourself. You're like, wait a second, I'm getting off topic. You just brought that shit back. Like I could have went to the bathroom and came back.
I was like, wait a second.
Well, that's awesome, dude. And then a lot of people watching this are probably familiar with like Scott Dinsmore's Live Your Legend. And I know when he built that out, that was the approach that he took, which was just engaging in the community, seeing where the pain points are, and then building his course as he got feedback from people in the process. And I've done the same with the conferences that I've done. And I'm doing, it's, engaging into the community, saying, what are you guys experiencing? What's going on? What are you afraid of? What do you wish you could do, but you're not sure how? Who would you love to hear info from, but you don't have access to them, et cetera, et cetera? So kind of engaging.
Yeah. One thing on that, I think, if you're just starting, I think that's the hardest piece. Is if you just want to start something but you're not really sure and you don't actually have the confidence to charge somebody because you've never done something before. This is for me when I first started copywriting. I didn't have the confidence to charge anybody because I didn't know if what I did actually worked or not. And so I think the strategy you want to do here is find somebody who's really influential in a community, and with whatever service you're going to provide, offer to do it for the influencer, the somebody like yourself, and do it for free. And then offer to do it for free in exchange for a case study. And this has been a really powerful thing for me. Like when I first started my copywriting business, that's how I got customers for it. I did it with like Jenny Blake and Amber Ray. And I was like, hey, yeah, just let me help you, and then let me turn it into a case study. I turned it into a case study, and those ended up generating a lot of business for me.
I'm so excited for the offers I'm about to get after this interview
now.
Right? This is so great. Thank you, Andy, again.
Let me design your website.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, dude. And I remember seeing those videos before I knew who you were. I remember seeing the one with Amber. And that's so genius, right? And then it's coming from a place of providing service and value and giving and giving and giving. And then if you guys are happy, then I'll get something in return. So awesome, dude. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, right on. Cool, man. Well, tell us a little bit about the foundation, right? So you guys are kind of gearing up for a launch, and I know this may speak not to the entire community at Sensify, but for the person who wants to become an entrepreneur who doesn't really know how. And you guys work in product-based businesses, so it's not service like what I do for the most part is I exchange time for money. We get on a coaching call, but you guys help people create things that then generate revenue by running themselves, where it's like kind of little Tim Ferrissy. You can remove yourself from that process. Can you speak to that process for anyone watching this who may want to kind of jump into what you guys got going on?
Yeah, totally. Really what we want to build with the foundation is just like the ultimate training ground for people who want to start a business but really don't know where to begin. That's like our long-term vision with it. Where we're at right now is we focus purely on software as a service based companies. So software products that you bill people every single month for. That might sound a little intimidating if you've never done software before, but we can, if you check out the foundation blog, we can give you case study after case study of people who have no experience of software. We have Esther, who's a mom from the Netherlands, who was a photographer, who ended up building a software product for photographers, of course. Carl Mattiola, who was a product manager at Tesla Motors who quit his job at Tesla because he built a business. Josh Isaac, who he was installing retractable screens on patios or something, and he built.
Who doesn't do that, by the way?
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
honestly.
Like, what is that?
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is. And he built a CRM system online, like having no software experience. And so basically what the foundation is the biggest frustration I think a lot of new entrepreneurs have is that you feel lost and you feel like overwhelmed with content. And for me, like, I had no connection to like entrepreneurial stuff. Like, I was one of those kids that sold candy when I was 7 years old. I just kind of like fell into it, and I wanted to travel and like be able to live life on my terms. And so what we provide is a really intense training program that's 6 months long, that teaches people how to build a business like almost backwards, like we said, where you don't have to risk time or money, because we focus on pre-selling the products in advance. So it's 6 months long. We have a group of mentors that, so that anytime that you need help, you have somebody that you can call to and get support from. And then we also have this really amazing community of people who just last weekend, our community organized an event in Boulder where we had about 40 or 50 people fly from all over the nation, and they organized it. They put it together. They had everybody get together and talk about like what's working in their business, what's not. And this is just it's an amazing group of people. So if you're looking to, like, honestly, forget all of that. We put out these incredible training videos we're scripting and filming this week, actually. So if you just check out thefoundation.com and opt in for one of the case studies, the training videos we put out will help you immensely if you want to start a coaching business. It'll give you we have this secret language of millionaires video that will really show you the foundations of marketing, and it'll help you a ton.
Yeah, and then that's so great, dude. And then one of the things I didn't realize becoming someone who was like following their passion is that I simultaneously became an entrepreneur. So the word marketing was like, why the fuck would I care about marketing? Like, I want to help people and like change their, but like, it's like, well, that's how you have to do it. When Brian Johnson interviewed Marie Forleo, he's like, what's the number one thing that you now know about business that you wish you knew when you first started? And she's like, that it's marketing that will change the world, or like something along those lines. I interviewed Brian last week, and I asked him about that, and he said that he interpreted that as just business, like business as a whole is how he took that. So for everyone watching who's like, I don't know, marketing, not really. For me, that was one of my blind spots going into Sensify that I didn't realize, was that the better I could get at understanding business and marketing, the more I could live my purpose and so on. And Andy's been an incredible part of me stepping my game up over the course of the last couple months. Even the job application that we put out on Sensify last week, 2 weeks ago, was inspired by what you guys did with the foundation. And so incredibly grateful for all your mentorship and your help, and excited to just get other people to engage more with your work.
Dude, thanks, man. It's fun. So I started that podcast a few months ago. It's called Starting From Nothing. We've interviewed, a bunch of really incredible entrepreneurs who built businesses from scratch. And almost every interview, there's a point in an a product or they've got a service, but they don't have people coming in the door. And I think it's one of the greatest skill sets that you can ever build, is your ability to market.
That's incredible, dude. So we'll link below the video so people can engage with you, maybe harass you on Twitter a little bit, send you threats that you better reply to them or else.
Dude, and if I'm just thinking about this now, we had a copywriting checklist Dane put together for AppSumo. It was one of their top selling products at one point. It's gone since, but if you want, we can give that to your audience. Yeah, totally for free. We'll set up like a custom page or something, and if we link to it at the bottom of the show, because I'm not sure what the URL will be yet. But yeah, we'll put it there. You can just download it, and it's like a quick start, and really, really influential if you're building your website. If you're just getting started selling, it'll help a ton.
That's incredible, dude. I feel like I don't want to let you go yet. There's so much more that I've got from you that I want to like give to the people here, but I think it's that time, man. So thank you so much for joining us, Andy, and looking forward to just continuing to watch what the hell you guys are doing, learn a ton in the process, and see how I can support you guys.
Dude, love you, brother. Thanks, man.
Right back at you, dude.